Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever it is you're viewing this. Just like to say thank you to all the people who viewed the first video. I appreciate that it's well received. And I'd also just like to say that this, and reiterate the point that this is kind of an open platform down in the comments. If you feel like you have a different interpretation of the verse I said, feel free to let me know. You have any questions, or just questions about God, faith, anything like that, or why I say I believe that I believe. I'm more than happy to answer those questions down in the comments, and critiques as well. And let's just go and jump into it. We're going to be in Ephesians 4, verse 32. It says, "Be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, as God in Christ forgave you." This verse is really, really impactful, especially today, because there's so much going on in our social climate, whether it be the political beliefs, with the wide spectrum there is, or with sexual identities, with the wide spectrum there is, or just what people believe in and whatnot. There's this never-ending field that seems to be getting larger and larger and larger, and it's really hard to understand it. And because of that, people see each other's beliefs as crazy because they're on this spectrum, and they're like, "Wow, I can't believe you think that. That's wild. That makes no sense." Because of that, it's created this sense of hatred that just keeps circling around the atmosphere, whether it be on social media or in person. And this hate has caused and continues to cause many tears and divisions in families, with significant others, or just close loved ones that you know, and you just lose them because you have a different belief. And instead of coming from a place of understanding and kindness, it's treated with hate and hostility, and that creates that division, and you don't speak to them anymore, you speak to them less, or you just don't talk to them. You lose friends, you lose significant others, you lose family members because of it, and that's not something that we should strive for. And so that's why this is important. It says be kind and tenderhearted towards another, because with all these different beliefs and whatnot, these people are used to being treated differently, or people coming at them with hostility and saying, "Oh, what you believe in is wrong, makes no sense," and it can really hurt. And they're so used to it. By they, I just mean anybody with a different view. People are so used to it that they essentially look for it. They want somebody to be mean to them, because they can project it back and make them feel how they feel on the inside, because in reality, people are hurting on the inside. That's why a lot of times they project the hate they do, is because they've been hated on, and so they manifest it inside, and they just let it out at the next person that wants to be mean, or seem like they're coming from a place of hostility. And a lot of times it can seem like you trigger this just by simply having a conversation about their beliefs and whatnot, and that's because they've built their life around this identity, or they've assumed their role around it. And so when you start talking about it, or start criticizing it, or trying to be hateful towards it, you're attacking them, because that is an extension of themselves. And so when you attack it, it's like you're attacking their person, and you're attacking just their very core. And so it can come across as really hateful, and that's why a lot of times people just project that hatred back, or they just seem really mean. And so that's why this verse is important, because it reiterates upon just being kind and tender-hearted towards people. When we, as Christians, are talking to people with a different belief, it's important to approach it through that gentleness and kindness that God would show us, or just show many people, because people are looking for the hate. They're looking to project it back. And so if you come from a place of kindness, and instead of just immediately saying and pointing the finger saying, "Oh, you're wrong, you're not a Christian," or "You don't believe this, so you're gonna go to hell," or "You're gonna do this or that," that right there just turns people's ears off, and they just don't want to listen anymore. Instead, they just spew the hatred back, and that gets people nowhere. And instead, come from a place of understanding, or try to come from a place of understanding, and understand why is it they believe what they believe. Because a lot of times people assume themselves around something because they've went through something, they're still struggling with something, or it's just what they've been told, and so they don't want to believe anything else. And so that's why it's important when having these conversations, you just approach it with gentleness, and you just make sure that instead of like saying, "Oh, it's wrong," just say, "Well, why? Why do you believe it is what you believe, or what is it you believe, or why? What about it kind of like intrigued you to want to assume your life around it?" And people want to ask the same question about why is it Christians wanted to assume their life around Jesus. And you have to be willing to accept that and answer that question honestly. And you have to be ready to get those kind of questions back. Oh, why do you believe in Christ? Or what made you a believer? And you have to be ready to get some hate back. Like, oh, you're a Christian and whatnot. And instead of trying to like come back with a quick response that is hateful or just a very quick quip or something, it's meaningful. The response is meaningful. You have to be willing to answer honestly, kindly, and tell them, well, this is why I've become a follower of Christ, and explain to them what it is you've kind of been through, or if it doesn't need to be that personal, it can just be all the good things Christ has done for you. Because a lot of times people are used to that hate, and if you show them kindness and love, they realize they're not alone in this world, that there is somebody who cares about them, there is somebody who's willing to listen. And even when you are kind and they are rude or they spew hatred back, still be kind to them and show them that even though somebody is faced with the hatred or faced with this this hostility, they're still willing to be kind to me, and maybe I am worth something, or maybe I can find this light in my darkest times. And when they feel that way, you can tell them about where it is you find your light. You can try and introduce Jesus into their life. Doesn't mean you have to throw the Bible at them and like tell them you have to do it right now. It can always be just a gradual conversation over time. Become friends and just show them that somebody cares about them, and just be kind. With that said, though, it's important to understand that just because we're believers in Christ, we are no better than the average person. We are not held to, we are not above them, and so we can just look down on them and just tell them like, oh, you're not really worth anything, or I'm way better than you because I've chose to believe in Christ. Granted, it can be hard because you don't realize you're doing it, but it's important to understand that we are just as broken. Christians are just as broken as the average person. The only reason why we're able to find the love and joy we have is because we've turned to Jesus and we found it, and we still suffer, we still go through hardships and whatnot, but the only difference is we've found God and we're able to turn to Him, and we're able to find that light that many people don't seem to have, and they're looking for. And it's important to remember that God forgave us and still forgives us too for what we do, for what we have done before we turn to Christ. We could all be doing different things, whether how bad it is. It could be something outrageous, or we could also have believed that the political spectrum of this, or just like we had our own beliefs, just like the person we're talking to. And it doesn't just have to be Christians too who go about their way like this. It can be just the average person too. It's not an exclusive thing where it's like if you're not a Christian you can't behave this way. It can just be a good reminder to go and approach your way like this, because like I was saying, God forgave you. He's willing to forgive you in your darkest times. He's willing to forgive you for whatever it is you turned to in your darkest times, and whatever it is you acted or you said to somebody. He's willing to forgive you. And if God's willing to forgive you, then who are you to say, I'm too good to forgive this person, or this person's too far gone to be forgiven, or this person has done something so hideous, and just there's no way I can forgive them. They're not good enough. But God is willing to forgive us at all. We have people have done abominable things, and He's willing to forgive us, and He's willing to allow us to come to him and assume our life and give our life to him and just say, I'm yours. And he's willing to forgive us no matter what we've done in that moment. And he's willing to continue to forgive us through the choices we do during our hard times and all the mess ups we do. He's still there for us. He's still willing to say, it's okay. I forgive you. Let's improve. And when you remember that, it humbles you and makes you realize I'm in the same boat, or I was in the exact same spot, so I can't get mad at them. I can't say they're wrong. I can't scorn them. They are just one lost person who just needs a friend and needs someone to care about them. So it's important just to approach them with kindness, like I said. That's about it for this verse, but just to make sure that the message is clear, essentially just go about your day and just be kind when approaching people with different beliefs and whatnot. Because like I said, it's an extension of themselves, so it can be viewed as an attack on their person. So when they come at you with hatred, be kind and show them they have a friend, that there is somebody who wants to be their friend, who has different beliefs, and just show them that there is love in this world, and just go about your day with that approach, no matter who it is you're talking to. So I hope this video receives you well. If it can be done any better, let me know in the comments. If you feel like this one wasn't as good, let me know why, and I can improve on it. So appreciate it. Hope everyone has a wonderful day, and peace out.